up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, this is State of the Game. You are not in a leather jacket. You're in one of those tubes with the liquid in it. Matrix shit, you know? You're not in a leather jacket. You wish you were in a leather jacket. You're in a tube with a pump. You know what I mean? That's life. Life, you're in the tube with the pump. Um, I I am your host, um, old Jewish and in no way affiliated or affectionate towards Israel uh, for a solid 40 years. This is Dano, and my co host, not a part of the Rat Pack, not a part of the Brat Pack, but trying to get a pack together at this point. Uh, I have tentatively accepted. I will be in the pack, but it's just me and him now.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't help out, it's going to be his dangerous uncle that's going to be involved, and the pack's going to get out of control. So, this K Diggy, thank you for being here.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you. And we have some great guests here. Secret Scriptures, the crew, returning guest, you know, the Patty Honcho of Secret Scriptures, no God. Thank you for being here. Again,
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're not just a talented rapper, but someone who I just love analyzing shit with. Who'll go
Likewise,
down that
man.
that dark, sinister, long hallway with me to overthinking things. So I appreciate that.
Always, always.
Our
Thank
other
you.
guest, I swear, um, I was talking to No God, and I was like, if I was you, I would build this thing around Athmaan. The talents of Athmaan. Like it's we there's actors who make everyone around them better. And you walk out of the movie like, that was a good movie, but only because of X. You know? Like Athmaan has the power to lift the ship and make you better. Make you want to be better because he's fucking good. Athmaan, thank you for being here.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so you guys put out Wavelength earlier in the year. You know God's debut album. Um, Athmaan, you mixed and mastered, right? 7 of the tracks.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and you produced 2, as far as
I
I know.
did,
Yep,
yes.
yep, yep.
Yep.
So as you were getting this put together, right, on the mixing and mastering side, did you say, "Oh, I think I know what this album is about, and it's about X"?
Yeah, I think like by the time that like I kind of entered like the picture, like I was kind of there in the background, like just kind of seeing No God kind of put it together. But I don't know. I can't really tell you exactly when in the process I knew like the exact main theme of the album, but I kind of knew that it was going to be about like masculinity and being more like open about your emotions and whatnot. And I think that was a theme that was really important to capitalize on. And I think that part of that, like that honesty was like the main like core of it. And that's why I kind of went for like a more like raw sound, like with the mixing and stuff and whatnot. Because I don't think like a super polished sound would have fit the album. So that's kind of like I think like I kind of knew like but like I didn't like I might not have been able to put it to words immediately, but I think I always kind of knew like what the main like core of the album was throughout the process.
Yeah, yeah. I think No God, the album had to sound like a hike with a friend that gets really personal by the end.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you
Yeah,
walk long enough, you talk long enough, you're tired, you've had the food and you're sharing shit that you weren't sharing normally. Like it had to feel like that sonically, you know?
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's Big Z. He actually texted me something. It was like this is having like a very raw, honest, sometimes uncomfortable, a lot of oversharing type of conversation with a friend that you just come out of like with a new perspective or you know, just I don't know, just with more clarity about things. And yeah, that's definitely why I think it needed that sound. And that's also why I wanted, like a more, I don't know, I guess intimate kind of soundscape, a soundscape that like pulls at your emotions. But I didn't want it to be too clean to make it to have it be overdone. And I think Devin like completely understood the assignment when it came to mixing and mastering the album.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a great group of people. I really did want to make sure I did want to talk to Big Z about this and get Big Z's perspective because you can feel the footprint all over the record, right? Raps on track 3, produces track 2, um,
Yeah.
background
Yeah.
vocals on 2 of the songs.
Yeah. Yeah. He was someone that I would, even in like the early stages of the album, he was someone I would confide in. He's someone that I would like, he would help me like kind of plan out song ideas, or if I had like a song idea, he would give me like sometimes like a new perspective, or he would like push against me a little bit to like make sure I was like not, make sure I was like going in a good direction with it and not like make sure I was like getting like a good tone for what I wanted to talk about, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. And he was at some of the sessions where I was recording the album, and he did some vocals, but he was also just like, he would keep me in check, and it was like just he was just very important for quality control and just for like talking out my ideas. And like I couldn't have done it without him or Devin as well, for sure.
Right.
They're very important to this album.
Yeah, and if I had to characterize the importance, Kay, um, I would do it the only way I know how with the movie Constantine. So the Keanu Reeves epic Constantine, he's like walking around, and he can see the demons inside the people, the specters, right? Um, and then you run into other people who can see them as well. And you're like, oh shit, you can see them? Oh shit. Right? And so when you can see them and you can both see them, then you can try and figure out what to do, right? But before that, you're just trying to convince everybody there's demons over there, you know?
Yeah.
That's what being a creative person is sometimes. You're like, I've got this vision for what I want. Everybody's like, what? And you finally get people that are like, no, I see exactly what you're seeing. Like, and I
Yeah.
think maybe doing this would help. And you're like, let's do this, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so that's how Z's contribution feels. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, actually, like, that's another thing I wanted to mention. Is just like he he saw the value, he saw the worth in my ideas, and he really, and when I started working on the album, I wasn't fully sure of everything. I wasn't fully sure of myself, and like I needed, I was definitely lacking confidence when I recorded and like made some of the earlier parts of the album, but he helped give me that confidence by valuing what I wanted to do and encouraging me to like go all in with my ideas. So, and like, just like one of the themes being of like connecting with people on this album. If, I don't think I had that connection from him or even from Devin at points for them to be like, yeah, go for it. Like this is great. I don't know if I would have fully like immersed myself in these ideas, and I don't think the album would have came out the same if I didn't have them just like telling me to keep going.
Right. Because yeah, especially when you're crafting your solo debut, you know,
Yeah.
the worry is if you don't have the people who can see ghosts with you, you're like, am I going in the wrong fucking direction? Like, am I vaulting in the wrong direction? Um,
Yeah.
you know, Am I J. Cole making Born Sinner? No, 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 I don't want to do that. Yeah, but it's the way it is, right? Like that's just how and not to make fun of J. Cole, that's the creative life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really have to work to build up a system like pulleys and everything to figure out I'm not in the wrong direction. You know,
Yeah.
um, everybody has to go through it. So, um,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, what was so and Kay, how did you feel about we were talking before you came on side one versus side two.
Okay.
Is it these are two very different sides.
I didn't realize. So what is it? So you split it into what is it? 5 and 5? Like loss, motion through loss is the first side, and then smoke screen through resonance.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe yeah. Um,
Um,
would you say smoke screen is where it changes? I feel like smoke screen is the conduit between side A and side B, but
I mean, yeah, I just did it 5 and 5. It was interesting. I mean, it was very. I guess the word is it was very vulnerable for a debut. Um, which was fascinating to me because it's like by the second side, I guess side B was like very vulnerable. I guess is the way to describe it.
right.
In a way that was kind of I know I use the word jarring a lot, but jarring. It's very jarring to me.
I mean, if you are a heterosexual man who's not used to other men being vulnerable around you,
Hmm.
this this is gonna hit you like that. But I think it's absolutely
Wait,
a,
wait. No, let me clarify.
you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy. You don't like vulnerability. That's what I'm positing here.
I meant it more from an artistic standpoint because like I feel like for a lot of debuts, like they'll give you a glimpse,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
give you like the full picture on the first album,
Yeah.
and this was like, no, I'm putting it all out there from the gate.
It's Drake giving you like the waitress at Peach Street or whatever, and then walking away. Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
like I thought about Drake because like Drake had that reputation for being the emotional guy, and you look at his debut album, like he had some songs, like kind of like fireworks. He started out with fireworks, but he also had like his club bangers. He had "Show Me a Good Time," like he had his songs where he had to, put on his mask and like show like, hey, wait, I'm still a player as well, like so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just an interesting artistic choice for me.
Drake albums were organized like a season of a television show. So like and he was so manipulative with his emotional content that he would drop it in the right space and be like, "Am I in love with Nicki Minaj? Tune in next time."
Bro,
And it fucking worked. There were some
it,
good seasons. But this ain't that, right? This just ain't that. Like I don't know, there was a line I wish I had written down because now I'm gonna sound stupid, but um the line that stuck with me, which was like, you know, it's it was something about being like you were talking about how you have dealt with like when you were in these groups, these macho groups, and you were rising to their occasion, you know, and you were wounding people to fit in.
mhm,
Uh, and you were talking about how like it's not me lashing out at you if it's a cage I'm trapped within. It was
mhm.
something to that effect. Um, and it was just a really incredible three-dimensional look at the situation.
Was it on the title track, do you think?
I think that might be on the title track. Yeah, Wavelength. Yep.
Okay.
Two songs. Yeah,
Um,
I think it was Wavelength.
Yep. Wavelength. Yep.
yeah. Um, yeah, no. I think I know which part you're talking about. So, I think there's, you know, as a young man, there's like sometimes there's a lot of social pressure, like from your peers, just from, even just adults kind of letting things slide, or, you'll have like when I was playing basketball, you'll have very aggressive dads usually, or sometimes even the moms, like being like, oh,
Right.
you have to be tough, you have to like play with a lot of courage, like you have to want to be the best, it's like very competitive, survival of the fittest, that kind of mentality. And, a lot of mind games involved with that, right? And, I'm even my dad has like, and I kind of mentioned it on Head Up, like he sat me down, he's been like, you can't you kind of have to have thick skin in these kinds of environments, whether
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to or not, you need to have thick skin. And sometimes you need to like do things if you want to fit in. And I was like a kid, I didn't usually fit in because I was a little bit more sensitive, or like I was a little bit more introverted, a little bit more nerdy, that kind of thing. And, you know, but the the want to like be a part of something, or the want, like just wanting community or wanting friends, like sometimes I felt like I had to be someone I wasn't, or be more like certain people who would get more attention, or who had like the kind of community I wanted, right? So, and I went to a very white high school,
Sure.
and there was like a very kind of frat bro energy, at least amongst like, the the male population of the school. And just a lot of hockey kids, very straight,
Hmm.
like everyone's wearing like khakis and like that kind of like preppy frat vibe, right?
Yeah.
And there's definitely like a culture of just like, making fun of women, or just like shitting on feminism, things like
Right.
that,
Right. Right. Right.
making fun of like anyone who was somewhat artsy, or so I would play into that a little bit. I would like piss off the girls for no reason. I never really like doing it. I didn't really, you know, I didn't, but I would get a reaction from the guys, and they'd be like, haha, it's funny. Or,
Mhm.
like it'd be cool to make those kinds of jokes, right? But it was never really coming from like a place of like hate. But I think like sometimes, I'm sure with some of the other guys, it was coming from a place of like, oh yeah, like I just can't stand them, or like their own insecurities that they were projecting, right?
Right.
But it was still like I still made those decisions to do that, and it's not something I was proud of. But that's, to me, that's like the cycle of everything when it comes to stuff like this, and when it comes to misogyny, whether casual or
Right.
like very targeted.
Yeah. No, it's. I think it is an important album in discussion of masculinity, um, and in discussion of like, you know, fitting that. Like, uh, I've always had a really weird relationship with, just in the sense that I'm of the opinion that everybody should be able to like line item veto whatever they want from masculinity. You know, you should be able to
Yeah,
go through it like a bill and be like, nope, don't, nope, not that. I'm not doing that. And just fucking build it how you want to build it, you know?
I
Um,
agree.
yeah. But I think, but I'm kind of alone in, like, I've got, in my generation, right? That's not a
Yeah,
popular thing within my generation. Um, so I get mistaken for people that are a lot tougher than I am, or a lot more male and hardcore. Um, but yeah, so I think that's this is a great because it shows the being inside sports, but not fitting this kind of hyper competitive thing that turns very, you know, arm wrestling and all that shit. It turns into all the all those weird NBA stories about how teams break up, right? Because fucking
Yeah.
they were gambling on the plane and somebody punched somebody in the face or um that kind of shit. So yeah, it just walks through that. Um, but it also has a lot of style to it, and a lot of fun and bounce to it. That's what first stuck
Yeah.
out to me. Okay. When I first heard it, I was like, ooh, there's bounce to this. There's grooves here. You
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I'm sorry.
Song that so there was this yeah it was there was a lot of different elements to it. Like I heard like some I don't know there was some jazz elements, there was some bounce elements. There was a song that kind of reminded me of there was a song on Chance the Rapper's Coloring Book. All night I've been drinking on. You know that song All Night? It's off Coloring Book. Uh, he has two coloring books, right? He did one or two.
I don't know.
But there's like a song. It's just a fun song. It's called All Night, I think.
Yep.
And there was a song that reminded me of that. There was like a lot of different moods on this project, which I really enjoyed
Yeah,
about it.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Um,
Um, yeah, I think there was a something that I had to it was something that I realized I had to incorporate into it because in an alternate world, um, it was just basically all like the second half. Like my original idea was just to very much lean into just like a very jazz heavy or jazz rap heavy introspective kind of album and like that just be it. So there wouldn't be a lot of moving parts. It would just be very much stuck in that mood. And but I was in a little bit of like a writer I had a little bit of a writer's block and I was just getting some beats and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write to these. And one of those was Divinity, which was produced by Athmaan. And I kind of just started writing. Banana Kush was another one of that. I just wrote a verse to it. And those were two of the first songs that I recorded, even though I had like other song ideas planned. Like I had the ideas for Submerged. I had the ideas for like Drain, uh, Head Up, all that like ahead of time. But I made these songs on a whim, and I didn't think like when I first recorded them, and like I really love them. I wasn't even thinking, oh, I'm putting this on the album because I was still like, oh, it's just going to be a jazz rap album with a lot of heavy content. But then, they were kind of nudging me, like Devin and Z were both like, like maybe you should put this on the album. And I was like, yeah, actually, you're right. And I'm happy I did because I was always the type to just plan out every song on a project. Even on Harvest Moon, I did that. And I think that project particularly, I still love it, but it's missing some whimsy and some fun at times.
yeah.
But, songs like Banana Kush, Divinity, Motion, like they add a lot of like fun energy to it. And that spontaneity was like really key to, you know, rounding out this album basically and making it like giving you something of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and I know we were talking and you were kind of listening to more stuff that was outside of that very serious world of underground rap. And you were like bouncing to some of that. And you were like, I want some of that light in what I do, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was listening to a lot of Slum Village, like Little Brother. And like Slum or well, more Little Brother, they could have their serious moments, but Fonte and Pooh were just like cracking jokes at one another a lot of the time.
yeah.
And they had like a fun kind of synergy. And I wanted to channel some of that into, what I do.
Right,
Absolutely.
yeah. People think of Little Brother as a very serious outfit, and they did serious stuff, but they weren't always doing serious stuff. Like they were,
Yeah, they're very well rounded. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's that's an interesting thing. Yeah. So and it's a good lesson, Kay, because you're like you're focused on I'm gonna do the serious album, right? This is gonna really explain me. But then you start to part of you starts to rebel against this idea. Because if you do this, what happens is you've created a situation where, okay, this next one, I got to really dig personal. I got to really find the dirt. And you're like, that's not really where I woke up. You know what I mean? That's not really where my pen woke up. So you got to go with it. And so you make these other songs that are a lot groovier, and parties like, do you store these for a different project? Are these not fitting this? Uh, Having people around you that are like, no, this transitions into this, incredibly valuable.
Yeah. And that's, shout out to Z and Athmaan for like
Yeah.
encouraging me to go that route instead. Like, when we recorded when we recorded Divinity, I just had a 16. Like I just had a verse. And I was visiting Devin and I was visiting our other friend Jordan at their university for just the day. And, we wanted to record a bunch of stuff. So I was like, oh, I have this on one of your beats. I'll just record it now. And then I recorded it. And then Devin was like, okay, now write a hook. I was like, and he was like, make it melodic, like do something like a little different. And I was like, okay. And then um did the hook. I ended up re-recording it on a different mic. Like it was like a couple days later, but it stuck. Like the spontaneous hook he made me come up with on the spot just, worked. And that's like a lot of people's favorite song on the album, and it's probably one of mine too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And by the way, I have to give credit to the sneaky preacher word, spoken word joint. I can't hear
Yeah.
that song without him.
Yeah, me neither. We actually like so with that song, um, we like I sent I think like do you remember that what's that song called? Like is it Little Homies by Vince Staples? Live
Oh
Hard, but
yeah,
I
okay,
go hard.
yeah.
Like and like Rich Ass Haitian that just dropped. And then my man Mashani, shout out to him by the way, he gave me some incredible production on the whole album.
Mhm.
But he sent me, or actually no, he posted on Twitter. He posted like a snippet of the Banana Kush beat. He was like, I was feeling some house vibes today. And I just texted him. I asked him for it. He sent it to me. Wrote a verse within the next few days. Showed it to showed it to Zach, and he was like, "Oh, I love this. Like, let me write a hook to it and let me get on it." I was like, "Hell yeah, why not?" I didn't have any plans for it really. And then once I was back in Toronto, like we recorded it, and then just on the spot, we were like, we need something to finish it off. So we called Preacher, who was supposed to be at the session, but he fell asleep and he was running late.
Yeah.
So called him, and the spoken word thing was just over the phone speaker basically. And
Yeah.
that's how that happened. But I think it kind of makes the song,
Oh yeah.
honestly.
It's
Like it
well,
just
you know what it does? It's like the post-credit gag reel. Like, so
yeah.
you get to really see the energy of the group together. You get to feel that. And I think that's really important, right? Uh, Not just whimsy, but connectivity with
Yeah.
the mission. So yeah, it's really important, I think. Um, yeah,
Mhm.
I
It was
think
important to it was important to have his voice on the project too. Like I originally wanted him on Head Up, but just didn't work out because he was going away to Ghana for
yeah,
8 months. Um and it was important to have his voice. It was important to have Naz's voice on it as well on Lost. Even though they didn't actually have verses on the project. And I wanted everybody to like have some kind of contribution to the album, even if it was just like a voice memo or whatever.
yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And so yeah, I'm I like it a lot. I think there's some incredible stuff, and it's just a really important thing uh in terms of when you finish that, like the story you told them about making that song, you know, it just kind of comes together, right? You get the beat, you write the verse, you show it to somebody else, they're like, oh, I got the hook. it comes together and it's special, right? It's become special. So you have to chase that down. Even though that wasn't the direction you were on initially, you made something
Yeah,
special. You got to chase that shit down. Like
exactly.
you got to incorporate that into the mission. So I appreciate that, man.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. Um, Athman, do you have a favorite run of songs on this?
Yeah. Honestly, like tracks, I would say like the first half is probably like the section that I like replay the most. I love Motion. I love Motion a lot. Shout out Mashani for that beat. It's crazy.
Yep.
Banana Kush, of course, obviously. Shout out Mashoni again. And obviously great performances from Now God and Zach on that as well. Head Up was a really fun one for me to mix and whatnot. And obviously Divinity, one of my favorite songs I've done for sure. Yeah, I just love like the spontaneous energy of that section. And like I think that it was really important and necessary for that back half. But yeah, I just had a lot of fun with that first half and just like, just putting those on repeat, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Once you've done those kind of songs, you then get to give yourself permission to do them again.
Yeah. That's what do you remember Kalyan off of Vital Breath from Offman?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep,
It's
yep.
like, yeah. Um, I know you guys talked about it when he went on the show for the album,
Hmm.
but that song, like basically I just, I recorded it like my closet right here.
Hmm.
And like, just he sent me the beat and I didn't really know what I was doing with it because I wasn't familiar with like I didn't really have a lot of experience on like bouncier production.
Right.
And so I recorded it and I was like, oh, this is kind of whatever. I sent it to him and I was like, well, if you don't like it, you don't have to put it on the album. And then he basically just told me like, this is great. Like, what are you talking about? And then he
Yeah.
mixed it, showed it to more people, and they were like, this is like the best song you've made. I was like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
and I'm just really happy. Like, I got the chance to, he kind of pushed me to do something a little less serious, do something like a little more fun and outside my comfort zone. And like it really paid off and it did give me some confidence to, write a song like Banana Kush or Divinity, you know?
The Othman effect. It is what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what
But
it
no,
was.
Vital Breath is a turning point for you. Like, because I reached out to you and just said Severa was the shit. Like that was the best no duo had sounded to me. Um, and that's right before, Kion. So I think that run, uh, you really found another space. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
And, shout out to Devin. He helped me get there. And yeah, it takes a village.
It really does. It's always magic when we collab, though, of course.
yeah. And if you go hard and go in different directions on other people's albums, it's a good testing space for your shit.
Exactly.
You
Yep.
can see the great ones do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Def C will try a whole new time signature on your album, and just like fuck it, why not? Um, I like that
Hmm.
shit. So that we are gathered here today to talk wavelength, but also to get something out of my brain. So I had this thing, uh, and it kind of, I don't know, it was a discussion with my family, uh, while we were swimming. It just had been in my head that the four realms of the Avatar universe, and not the blue people, not the blue people, the real Avatar universe, Aang, and then the four realms: fire, water, air, uh, earth. Yeah, fire, water, air, earth. The four realms that there are four realms of hip hop. I'm gonna drop, uh, you know, I'm gonna drop my write up on this. I have a whole write up on this. Uh, so, but I just think there's different those different realms are important, and so we can. I mean, I guess I can put I create a spreadsheet here. I'm going to use the spreadsheet to even help us define what I'm talking. Okay. Because I'm into that. Let me see. Do I have a share? What's the share button? There it is. Boop. Can everybody see?
Yep.
Right on. So, starting with somebody like uh Method Man, right? Use him as a test case, right? Uh, and obviously the avatar possesses all the powers of the four realms, right?
Yep.
If you were to assign the primary, right? Primary wise, Method Man is uh an airbender to me.
Yeah,
He's an
I agree.
airbender because the reason we loved Method Man was just hearing him rap, right? Like we were like, whoa, that's exciting. Um, and I think that was, yeah. So yeah, that I would do that, and that is the primary. Now there's a lot of airbenders who are firebenders as well, because the firebending is somebody who can maximize uh their vision, right? And it's you could I shortened it to hits, right? Produces hits, but is able to scale up what they do in an important way, right? And Meth still does that. He still drops guest verses that capture everyone's attention, you know, like because he understands the big screen, you know.
Yep.
So a waterbender, he is not. Waterbender is somebody who engages on a personal level in a way that connects them to their audience. I don't know anything about Method Man, and I think
Yeah.
he's fine with it. I'm not saying that's even a weakness, right? Like I was thinking about it, I was like, he's such an airbender that I think for our generation, Method Man kind of became symbolic of what it was to be rapping, you know, the act of rapping, you know, like that motherfucker raps. Grit is the ability to kind of transport you to dynamically to street environments, right? Hardcore environments. Uh, tell those tales, plug you in. Also, kind of battle rap and do that. Uh, I do think Meth is probably an earthbender. I think he gets there through his hooks.
Mm.
I think the
Yeah.
hooks are cinematic enough and gritty enough, like Cream, as an example.
Yeah.
Cream is his hook,
Cream.
and it's that concept couldn't be more earthbender, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. I agree.
So, not an avatar, obviously. So does that make sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Yep.
We can kind of go through some examples here and find some avatars maybe potentially. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with just killing your individual bending route. If you are an elite anything of these, you have had a long and successful career.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my son filled in Snoop Dogg at the beginning and J. Cole at the bottom. So he's relax. He's in the other room going crazy. So yeah, he's a firebender. He does make big songs. J. Cole, he does do personal songs. I don't think anybody comes to J. Cole for the flow, and I think his least convincing stuff is his tough stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I heard. Are we talking specifically about Cole now?
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry,
I
we go down.
think when Cole came out, his appeal was he was an everyman. Like he
Exactly. Yes.
relate
Yes.
every. But I think he has evolved. I think he. I don't think he can quite relate to well. I think he tries to relate to the everyman now. I don't think he relates like he used to. So I would kind of put him in. I think you said the water realm or water kingdom or nation. But I think as he's grown as an artist, he's evolved, and I think now he's gone to other, I guess you could say, nations, and I do think that he is he is known for his flow, Airbender now more so than his stories.
Interesting. So you would say Cole can be an airbender. I think I'm willing to give that. Does everybody agree that he has become that?
I think, yeah, I think his like his flow has become a lot more impressive.
Yep.
It's not always my thing. I think it comes down to the production choices, but like he's very technically impressive versus when it comes to, how he flows.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
So
Yeah,
I think it's
Athman, you
fair.
for
agree?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a bit more recently, like you can tell that he's a lot more confident in his ability to like switch it up more, which is also part of it too, I think.
And I mean, like for now, the Cole that I think of nowadays, like there's not. I don't want to say there's not depth. He doesn't go quite as personal as he used to do with his stories. Now it's more like he's really known. Like he had that guest feature run, maybe in 2017, 2018. That where he really became known. Like I think of that London song with, is it Travis Scott?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Like the-
that was where he really impressed people. Where people were looking at him like, wow, like is he the best flow? Like that run, that guest feature run, put him kind of in that conversation with Drake and Kendrick. I don't know if he's there right now. That's not for me to say, but that he kind of using his flow, it elevated him to that kind of tier for a lot of people.
And by the way, I will say last thing on J. Cole, I really want to move on from them, but I don't think there's anything that happened in that Drake Kendrick thing that hurts my relationship with Cole as much as the no name situation did.
Hmm.
Mm.
The no name situation, like, just totally eviscerated a lot of the goodwill that I had. But pick Othman, pick somebody for us to talk about. We got
Sure, I guess you got to go with the classic MF Doom.
let's go MF Doom. MF Doom. No God. Would you what do you I'll do a category, you do a category. Definitely an airbender.
yes.
A goddamn teacher. You know what I mean? Like you sit there, you're like, oh shit, let me take notes. Um, what is wait give me another category with Doom. What are you thinking?
Earth, I think yes. He gives you like it's an interesting kind of like grit though. Like you know, sometimes it's a little I don't want to say like cartoonish, but you know what I mean? It's like, oh, Dan, you muted.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm back.
Um, yeah, I think he is an earthbender. Like I listen to Vaudeville Villain, and there's a lot of grit on that
Ooh.
album. even
Yeah,
if it's not in like a conventional way.
that's a great
So
call.
I'd say yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Uh, do we see Doom as a firebender, someone who made things bigger, who gave us giant sized stuff?
Yeah.
I think of his scene, yeah, for sure. Like he brought up a lot of people, especially just through like his vision, right? That was like the biggest thing about
Yeah.
him.
And I think of like I think Yasin Bey performing all caps as a tribute to him is like enough proof that he has that kind of impact, you know?
And yeah, I was just thinking when I was talking about the firebending, there's a song he has, it's a Jay Dilla beat, Gazillion Ear,
Mm.
which is one of it's on my like workout playlist. You know what I mean? Like that shit bangs, you know?
Yeah.
It's big. It's awesome, you know? He has
Yeah.
big, awesome songs. So I give him that. Waterbender, I want to give him Waterbender. You know why? Because Waterbender can be tricky. Everybody is talking about their life in some way, right? Like, um, it's just, and sometimes you're like, he's not giving you Tupac, Dear Mama, you know?
Yeah.
But Doom really did write his his personality into the raps.
Hmm.
The
Mm.
jokes got dark, you know? Like the realizations got dark, you know? Like it's to the point where like the album that has Gazillionaire also has some really homophobic stuff on there. And it hurts a lot harder than a lot of other homophobia in underground hip hop because it feels connected to him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he connected his content to him. So I just I think yes, I would give him airbender status. Anybody disagree?
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's Avatar.
Okay. Pick you're picking the next person. We're gonna do a few of these, man. It's fun.
Let's go. Gotta read the very small print. Thought I saw Lucid. Let's go Lucid.
Elucid. He's up here. Man, the other one on here that would be fun to do is Cav.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cavalier and Elucid are both back to back. So, but to focus on Elucid, okay, give me a first category you think Elucid has to be mentioned in. Do you think which realm are you
He
starting on?
water. He's water nation. Are we call? What are we referring to? Water realms? Are we referring to
I
realm
like nation. Let's switch to nation. I like
nation?
that. Yep.
Yeah, he seems like water nation to me.
Yep. And we've talked to him about it. Like when he like, oh man, that image is so specific. He's like, that's me. I was in church. You know, like yeah.
Because I think he does tell like I almost like I first considered him maybe Earth Nation, but then I think there's a level of surrealism and spirituality and what's the other word I want to use? There's a mystical element to his music. So for me, that kind of puts him in that water territory,
Yeah.
that water.
I'm with you. No God, what are you adding to that? What's the next nation?
Mm. I
Or
mean,
if there are any. What?
Earth, Earth is tough. I'm not because, when I think of, I think no, there's like definitely like a level of grit, and I think Elucid is like a very interesting storyteller, but I usually feel like it doesn't like it usually feels kind of larger than life, if that makes sense. Kind of like what Kay was just saying. Like there is like a mysticism to, how he like articulates things. Whereas like, like Woods, and I think that's why like the Arm& and Hammer records are usually so balanced, is because like you can balance each other out with that. Like Woods is very grounded and there's a lot of grit in like his storytelling. Um, so I'm not sure, but I think definitely Air, yes, because
Oh
he
yeah.
finds some incredible pockets, and
Yup.
it's, nobody can really flow like a Lucid.
Oh yeah. He's chanting. He's chanting. Like
Yeah.
it's like a lot of time. He can make unconventional things sound beautiful. So I'm going with that. For me, the essence of Earth, right? The Earth Nation is transporting us to danger effectively. And I think Elucid does a magnificent job of that, of like putting you in a place that's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Maybe due to racism, maybe due to police, maybe due to, you know, uh,
Landlords.
landlords, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh, it he makes you feel the uneasiness that he feels, transports you to that danger. It just isn't always like it isn't always moving packs, you know. It isn't always in
Yeah.
that realm. It's just, but it doesn't have to be. You
It
know,
doesn't have to be,
he knows
yeah.
how to do that.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
Fire. What do you think?
I feel if we're defending fire, like we're defining fire as like someone that's able to like maximize like
Yep, yep,
their appearance or something. Like I think that he's shown that he is capable of doing that. Like a song like Stone Fruit wouldn't have worked without his delivery on that, right? Like he made that song, at least to me, like he set the stage for that wood verse. That Woods verse would not have hit as hard if he hadn't had that lead up to it. So I think
yes.
there could be a case made for him being a firebender as well.
I think
Yeah.
that song, yeah, that song makes it capable of that. But whenever
Stone
you have to say,
fruit is it has to be mentioned if you're talking about elusive in the fire category. I totally agree that that is, elucid is the lead on that. Um,
yeah.
and Woods is a bit of a closer, right? He's
Hmm.
like the he takes it to a different level, but uh, yeah, it wouldn't exist without him.
You can't one without the other for sure.
How do you
Yeah.
feel, Kay, about him being a firebender?
To me, it doesn't fit. Like
Hmm.
when I think of fire, I think of something like fire spreads very quickly. I think of like a firebender, someone who is trying to create something, a work like a piece of work or piece of art that spreads very quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't think like when I think of a loser, I don't think of someone who, yeah, I think like he would like for people to hear his songs, but I don't think he feels the need for people to hear his songs in a way that I think someone with a fire in the Fire Nation would.
So I think I'm going to side with you on this, Kay, just in the sense that while he did do Stone Fruit, he has made big songs. I don't.
Like
That's not the mission, and that's not the mission all the time. And
Yeah.
so, if he like, there has to be a firebender. You have to have a regular history of cranking that out.
Hmm.
I think
Um, yeah,
there's an intentionality. Like I think of some rappers who are like they can go in the studio and be like, yeah, I'm gonna make a big song today. I'm gonna make a song that's gonna set the world on fire, and I know exactly what elements to use. I know exactly how to do that, and they're able to almost like make a song that spreads very quickly because they understand how to use that fire,
right.
and that's their intention. There's a very intentional aspect to the Fire Nation, I guess, for me.
Hmm. Whereas you'd say
Yeah.
this is like more of like a case like Stone Fruit or something like that, whereas like a rapper that maybe sometimes has that like effect, it's more of a spontaneous thing, maybe more of like an energy they're catching on that
Yeah.
specific track, right? Okay. Yeah, fair
Right.
enough.
Yeah. I
And
think
so
I think like
look,
Bessie is like Bessie, there's moments with that, but to me that's one of
mm,
the only Lucid projects I can think of where it's like
Yeah.
that would kind of push him there. That and like, a song like Stone Fruit. But I do agree with you guys after talking it out.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not the
that
mission.
is that is the only thing left, right? Like if Elucid was to continually make songs that like scale up into blockbuster, then that's to the moon, next level, leaves all these guys behind. So
But would it be
that's
a bad thing if he continued? I think it's not really necessarily a bad thing if he continues in the lane that he's in right now,
no,
right?
no,
Like,
not at all,
yeah,
not at
yeah,
all, not at all. It's like we can go to the next one, right? And like I'll pick one, and I'll go right to Ka, right? Let's talk about
Yeah.
Ka. So Ka definitely an earthbender, right?
Yep.
He transport you right to the street scene, and I think he got a bad rap. Some people say Ka always raps the same. Uh, he does have a monotone voice, but I think there are lots of different pockets, interesting vocabulary, interesting pauses. Uh, yeah, if Rock Marciano's an airbender, then Ka is too.
Yeah.
So,
The thing with Ka is like he makes he it's not necessarily flashy, but like you have to be really good at what you do to make it sound as like effortless as he does, or as he did, I mean.
mhm, mhm.
And that I definitely agree with you there. Like his flow is always super tight and super dynamic. It's just like his voice wasn't always necessarily, but that wasn't really what he was going for.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm with you.
Yep. And personal, yes, Ka was
Yeah.
always
oh yeah.
made everything feel personal. But I do not think he's an avatar because he had no intentions to make fire.
Yeah.
When we talk about the definition of firebending as maximizing and scaling up, Ka was like the opposite. He wanted to scale down. So it felt like it was just you and him in the room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes people who are like really focusing on water, uh, they're not gonna give you fire too, you know. Um, it's just how it is. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's good times, man. Who wants to pick next? No God, you want to pick? Pick somebody.
Yeah, let's see. Let's do Eminem. That could be interesting.
Eminem, buddy. Me and my son had argued this out. Um, Definitely, I'm gonna start and say yes to Airbender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody who everybody, captured the world's attention with the flow. You know, no God, who?
To a
What else you
fault.
got? Huh?
I said to a fault
To a fault,
sometimes.
absolutely.
You
Yep,
know?
He
Shout out
started
to
a whole
NF.
trend.
yep, yep.
This whole subgenre of rap
Um,
music, man.
yeah, just like having to listen to the kids in my class recite Rap God and like Venom and shit like, oh, don't take me back. Yeah.
But that's how important the flow is, right? There were
Yeah,
waves. There were at least two waves of rappers who were just doing Eminem flow. We had to
terrible.
all suffer through that. Like, oh my God. Okay. They're like, Eminem's my biggest influence. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. So, okay, let's do. And the reason I picked Eminem is because personally, not really a fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Not even of his like earlier work. Like normally people are like, oh yeah, like I like, Marshall Mathers, I like Slim Shady, I like the Eminem show. I don't really care at this point, but he's someone who's like consistently like added things for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And I think he is like impressively well-rounded for someone I don't like. So I do respect him. Fire, yes. Like
Yeah.
he's had consistently had moments like throughout his career. Um,
What is
If
a
you put
hard one?
together his greatest hits, like there's
yeah,
hits, you know?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and some of them, Eminem, to give him credit on Firebender stuff, he was able to make personal songs hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, songs about his daughter, like that were banging all around the world, man. Like,
Songs about addiction.
Uh,
Yeah.
right. So okay, you got to give him water too, right?
Yeah.
no, for me, but the thing is, it's difficult because when I think of water, uh, it's 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 difficult to make the distinction because I don't want to say like I think there's a sincerity in the Water Kingdom,
Yep,
like
yep, yep.
and yeah, when I've always I think that M is a fire in the Fire Nation, and for me the reason is you could see the ambition from the gate,
Yeah,
like it's difficult for me to put someone in the Water Nation, a rapper in the Water Nation who has had like a #1 song, who has, arguably probably the most commercially successful rapper in history.
yeah,
Numbers.
I
yeah.
think it goes back to what we were saying before about like the consistency. Like, is he always aiming for that, like, for that personal quality to his music? Not really, I guess.
Right.
Like, a
Just
lot of
because
times
he's
playing a
done it
character,
doesn't
right?
mean he always does it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe like not necessarily water bender always, but he can bend water when he wants to.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
I
like
think
that.
I think the other thing with Eminem is like a lot of the kind of personal stuff comes from like a very like it's like I mean not that waterbending has to be pretty, but it's always coming from like a very like angry, usually
Mm.
like twisted, like wounded kind of place. And I think that relates a bit more to like earthbending because like you hear him talk about like his stepmom or just like,
Right.
just like these hateful kind of tirades,
That
like in
makes
like some
sense.
of his stories.
It went on the Slim Shady LP, right? When that came out, I was like, and I was playing it for people, and I was letting me the the real interesting songs were like about bullying and following up on your bullies, right? And like talking shit about people who said that you ripped off their flow, and like just that kind of
Yeah.
he could transport you to danger, certainly. Um,
Yeah.
so I would give him that 3 out of 4. Um, maybe the problem is the water songs are his least convincing, you know?
Yeah, and I
Mm.
think like some of them they feel like there's not really like a vulnerability or sincerity there. It's more like I'm lashing out, kind of. It's like it's almost offensive in a way. Like
Mm.
he's
it's
turning that into like
like
trying to like provoke. So would you say, Kay?
huh? Oh no, I think sometimes like when I go back and I listen to some of his, like I think of the song uh Kill You. Is
Yeah,
that
bitch, I'm gonna kill you.
yes, when
Mm.
that song, like it's provocative, but so it can be like it could be considered vulnerable, but it's vulnerable in a provocative way that he knows
Yeah.
evoke a reaction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a part of the performance.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a part. Yes.
Yeah. And who's to say he's playing a character with that too?
That last verse where he's like talking about, I think he's if I remember correctly, he's talking about offing his mother,
Yeah.
damage she's caused. Like it's brilliant in a way, but it's haunting. But it feels very like manufactured to me. Like he sat down and he was like, okay, this is how I'm gonna get the emotion I want from the audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
What who wants to pick the next one? Athmaan, you got it?
Sure. Let's do Heaves.
We're doing Heems?
Yeah.
Nice. I love this. I love this. Start me off. What do you got kingdom wise? Where are you planting him?
Yeah. He's an interesting one because like I feel like with his comeback like lately it's been a lot different like than his original thing. So I think right now he's giving like a lot like he's giving me like a very waterbender kind of vibe. Not just in the fact that he's like um it's not just in like the like he's talking about his personal stuff, but it's also like his the culture aspect is a lot more prevalent in his music than it used to be, right? It was a lot pretty prevalent before, but like with these later like with these more recent releases, like you can very much tell that he's like tapped into that like South Asian heritage and culture, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I would say, and I would say waterbending is what kept me plugged in.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I I hated Das Racist. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree with that.
putting it out there, just like we're in New England, me and Kay, and white people loved not Das Racist because it gave them permission to make fun of hip hop, I guess. And I was like, fuck you, I know what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Uh you don't care about these dudes. You don't even know who's in the group, you know?
hmm
So and the rest of those guys, they did their thing, but what was that project called? Wet Water Kingdom or Wild Water Kingdom?
The Das Racist?
No, him solo mixtape.
Oh, like the is it a new one or is it like an
No, this
older?
was old.
Oh yeah.
Old.
Hmm.
Let's see here.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's something Water Kingdom.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Wild Water Kingdom. I was right.
Yes.
Ha ha! The mixtape. 2012. That's right. Mixtape
Oh
Dan
yeah.
back again. So I mentioned that mixtape to say he left Das Racist and he dropped Wild Water Kingdom after like his big mixtape. Um, it was incredibly personal. It was incredibly
hmm
bracing, and that was when I was like, "Oh, this guy's fucking serious. Like, this is an important person." So
hmm
it kept me in the game with Heems, uh, regardless of that stuff. But uh, no, God, do you have any Heems thoughts?
I'm really not that familiar with him, so I can't really add much.
All right,
Um,
Kay, I assume that is similar for you.
Oh, there, so
Me and Athman are going to take this one.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I'm going to go yes on Flow for Air. His new stuff has been dizzy
Yeah.
and beautiful.
Oh yeah. No, Love Thunder, he was flowing all over that for sure.
Yep. And honestly, he is kind of making fire right now. And I think he's always kind of made fire. Like
Yeah.
he's got a song with Mr. Cheeks from last year that just bangs. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. This shit bangs. It's not, he's not making quiet music, you know?
Oh, absolutely not. No. Some of the
He's
stuff on
making
that
giant
last album was
sized
like
music. So I got to give him credit for that.
real
Um,
good. Yeah.
Earth Grit. I'm not sure there's Earth Grit.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Because I think he values fun and being fun and like jokes and shit like that.
hmm
So I think he takes himself out of that game and
mm
doesn't regret it. Let's put let's go outside of the dudes for a minute. Kay,
yeah.
do Missy Elliott with me.
Mm. Ooh. Uh,
What comes to mind?
the Fire Kingdom.
She dropped a single without an album that was that Super Bowl commercial. You remember that?
No, I didn't hear that. I didn't.
It was like it was years ago. This is years ago. It
Okay.
was like a Super Bowl commercial, and she did a song, and then she released a song. Song went platinum. She didn't even drop an album for it. Uh, she's absolutely a firebender, no question about it.
When
yeah.
I yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm good.
Nope.
I was like for me, an important element of firebender. Firebenders are going out to, they're doing try to amaze you.
Right, right.
Intent, like I said, there's intentionality to it. They're trying to create a work that amazes people.
Yeah, maybe the key thing to think about, Kay, would be a lot of artists when you see them interviewed, they're like, I don't even care what people think. I do
Mhm.
this for me. You know,
Right,
a firebender would never say that shit.
right,
Never.
right.
They're out
And
there. They're trying to get people on the playground excited and shit. You know?
yes,
Yeah.
and I mean, I even think of her, like her debut project. You know, she was trying to show, like, look, I'm someone who can do it all.
Right.
Uh, you know, and to me, like that is like a Fire Nation resident through and through.
No God. Do you fire connects with air a lot of times? I think this is a situation where you would make that call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Definitely an airbender.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like very underappreciated flow, but just,
Mm,
how much she could do. Um,
indeed.
yeah.
Any thoughts on the remaining two categories? I wrestled with this with Missy. I
Well,
think
I know I mainly know her for her hits, and like that's mainly what I go back to. So I don't know her deep cuts too well.
yeah.
Um, I don't really get a lot of earth from it, to be honest. Like I don't get a lot of actually, I don't know. It's kind of tough.
If I were to make an argument for Earth for Missy, it's that she gets there through dealing with the crowd and gossip and hate and
Mhm.
battling. It's almost like a battle MC, right? But she's bad. That's what gossip folks is, right? It's a battle rap song against all these cats, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so that's the argument there. I don't know. Does that make sense, Kay, or do we need more out of Earth than that?
I mean, I think with Earth, I think of it like as a almost like in a journalistic sense or a reporter. Like to me, an Earth resident or an Earth someone who's from the Earth Nation is
Nation.
they are like almost like a reporter. They're trying to tell you and get paint you the picture almost objectively of what's going on in their surroundings. Uh, so that's and there's a level of seriousness to it. I think because I that's what I think of Earth. I think of journalists and I think of
Yeah.
seriousness to it. Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you this to entertain. I'm telling you this because you need to know.
I think you're right that Missy carries through up house party energy
Yeah.
isn't Earth necessarily, and I don't think you call her a waterbender. I don't really know anything about her, and I think that's intentional.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it's cool. Anybody else on the list that you guys think could be an avatar that we should talk about? Let me see.
Lou, for sure. Lou.
Blue, definitely an airbender.
Yep.
Definitely somebody who can give you grit and danger.
Yep.
A lot of good shit there. Um, honestly,
Definitely personal.
somebody who underrated at the personal shit, man. Gives a lot,
Oh yeah.
and I think definitely maximizes things, right? Like he's got one of the best verses on my favorite Roots album. Like he's Blue makes big music, you know.
Yep.
So I think I agree with you. Anybody have any issues with Blue as an avatar? I think that works. I think that works.
Maybe. Ooh, I would say the other two, from what I can see, that I would pick for like as an avatar, it would have to be Kendrick and Little Sims, I think.
Let's let's
Yeah, I
go
agree
Little
with that.
Sims. I'm really interested in Little Sims.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
so definitely water to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Definitely really good personal stuff. Would you say Kay? Would you say an airbender?
Yeah, I mean there are certainly elements of it for sure.
I really love she does switch into different flows and kind of more, I don't know, would you call them Caribbean flows? Like she switches
You-
into these different flows.
there's like different cadences as well. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely like she definitely performs with that. And I guess that also ties into firebending too. But I think she can like sometimes she can do like a very theatrical kind of delivery with like a very intricate type of flow. And that's why she's definitely an airbender for me.
Mhm. I
Um,
agree. I agree.
I think I'd go fire too. I think she's able to I think she's had like a couple hits or like songs that have done very well. But I think she's able to like she's because okay, let's say or let's use Cleo Soul, right? I'm a
Yeah.
big Cleo Soul fan.
Hmm.
When I listen to Cleo Soul, I don't like it's usually pretty laid back and personal and it's like healing. You know what I mean? Like Cleo Soul, it's not really her intention to like usually make anything like super grand. It's usually very low key, kind of in like a, like a Badu kind of sense.
I agree.
The,
I totally agree.
but whenever she's on a little Sim song, it gets scaled up.
It gets
And
scaled up. Yeah.
and
I,
that's just the kind of effect she has to me.
yeah.
So
Okay. I don't think Little Sim started as a firebender, but I think she is now.
Yes, agreed.
yeah,
I think she acquired that skill over time and worked for it. And I think that's awesome. The question is about grit.
yeah.
Uh, what does everybody think?
Hmm. Like for me, like she can tell personal stories,
Yep.
but I don't know if I've heard songs where she can tell, like, how do I explain this? Like, I don't know if she's a good reporter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah,
But
because when you're doing earthbending, you are creating gravity and tension,
hmm.
right? Because the danger element, it takes some shape. That's why I fought for Elucid as an earthbender, right? Because there is still that he is still like a director of thrillers, you know? Um, and I'm not sure that Sims is at this point.
I think she could be. I
Agreed.
think,
Yeah.
but maybe I think you might be right. I don't think it's quite there yet.
Not there yet. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean it can't be there in the future. You know what I mean?
I think there's like flashes of it at times. Um, yeah.
So the last two that I think maybe we should do, I think we should do Lupe and Vince.
Oh, I didn't even realize Vince was here. Yeah, let's do it.
Lupe and Vince. Who first? Who do you want to do first?
Let's do Vince.
Let's
Hmm.
do Vince. Kay and I saw Vince live.
I saw him open for Tyler the Creator like a few years ago. He
Oh,
was really good.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So let's see here. What it Kay, what is the first category you'd give him?
Um, to me, he's Earth.
Definitely Earth. There's definitely people being shot directly in the head. Um, and
Like,
and you can watch his TV show. It's tense. It's it has a lot of gravity. It has a lot of danger. Yeah, he's a thriller guy, no question.
yeah, like I think of is it North North? Yeah, obviously
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
which is I mean that's probably his biggest hit. But I mean if you listen to that song and you watch that video, like that's him kind of reporting on his surroundings in a
Yeah.
really,
That imagery. Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Yep.
there's a gravity, there's a seriousness to it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Athma, what else do you think for Vince?
Yeah. I'd say he's a firebender. I could see him in that category. The songs like Yeah, Right, like for sure. He maximalizes a lot. Like maybe not every song, but like I think quite a bit of his discography is very like explosive.
Yeah, I think he's somebody who, when he wants to, can just give you that, you know,
Mhm.
can give you hit songs. Um, and does a large portion of the time, a lot more than
Yeah.
people would think. Yeah.
Bro.
That track with Mustard too, Magic,
Yeah.
that one's
Yeah.
super catchy.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, that whole
Yeah.
album, he was in that mode, man.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and
I think yeah.
that New Orleans song off Dark Times,
Mm,
etouffee, that's just crazy. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I would do that. What do we think of? I think definitely on water.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable
Yeah,
on
I'd
water.
say that.
He's
Mhm.
someone who's always kind of giving you like personal stuff that's uncomfortable and tough. I think it's great. The question is about airbending. Is his
Yes,
flow a show? That you're excited to see.
I would say so, personally. I think of do you guys remember that track? I think it's Surf and Turf off the
Oh
Boldy James
yeah.
Alchemist
Oh
album,
yeah.
Mhm.
That's a
Price
good
T
one.
China. The way he just comes in on that beat is yeah.
What do you think,
That's
Kay?
something only an airbender can do.
I'm with you. What do you think, Kay? Air Nation?
Um, there's elements of it. Yeah.
I let me try and sell you. I think it's the last thing he added. I think he starts out with Earth, right?
Right.
And water, moves to water, figures out fire, and by figuring out fire, has become air.
So here's my issue. Like, I like Vince, and we saw him,
Yeah, yeah, totally.
but when I think of Avatar, I mean, I think of some. It's not necessarily that they have elements of all the nations. It's that they do all. To me, an Avatar is someone who has like mastery of all of them.
Right. So you don't think he's mastered the airbending yet?
Yes, he hasn't mastered that,
No doubt.
and so there are. I mean, he's on his path to it for sure, but he hasn't mastered that for me now.
Are we out voting K or are we agreeing with K? How do we feel about that?
Well, I think the thing with Vince is that um I can level with K on this one. Because he's to me he's like jack of all trades, master of none with the flow. Like I
Mm,
think he can sound good on he sounded really good on like a house beat more recently. He sounded good on a like an Alchemist beat on like Surf and Turf. It was like very minimal and
right.
spacey. He can
Even like the
sound good on like the
Caliphate
West
too.
Coast.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, I was seeing even like the Caliphate also was another alc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one too. Um he sounds good on the West Coast beats. He can do like a lot of different stuff, but maybe he doesn't have like the signature, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I hear you.
So I can get with that.
The
I'm
same
cool
with
with
the
that. I'm cool
consistency
with
as we were
that.
saying before.
Yeah.
Now, Lupe, last one we'll do here. I think Lupe's an interesting case. Uh, I definitely would go air.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, Kay, any disputes on fire? Or are we
No, you can't. I mean, he knows how to make a hit song. He's had of the 2000. He had some of the biggest rap songs for the like early 2000s. Like that Superstar song.
yeah.
That was a huge hit.
And he still makes like I still listen to Samurai a lot.
Yeah.
Um, because it's a smaller scale version of him with low stakes, but it's still big and hooky and fun as
Yeah.
hell. Like uh I think he is a
Kick
natural
push.
firebender, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh what about water? Athmaan, Noah, what about water?
Hmm. Rappers
Die too much.
Yeah, that's like the thing with him is I feel like he says like these very powerful things, but I'm not it's not with someone like a like a Ka or like a navy blue or like someone it's not someone I necessarily go to when it's like damn like I need a hug through the music kind of thing. It's
Hmm.
Lupe's like I think sometimes he's like he he plays into like concepts and
Yeah.
and
He-
he'd rather be really clever than be like super heartfelt all the time.
Not vulnerable.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Not vulnerable. I was
So
thinking I'm sorry.
like
Um
he's an amazing writer. He can write some like really moving things, but it's not like I don't really feel like I always know him too well, and I also don't feel like he's always like I think he would rather be like really clever or like make you give you something to really think about with like a crazy metaphor than like give you like a piece of his soul. You know what I mean?
I think that's a
Hmm.
good point. I would say I was thinking about kick push, right?
Hmm.
Because kick push to me is incredibly beautiful love song. Like,
Hmm.
um, and it's incredibly vulnerable, but he gets there by creating characters that are not him,
Right.
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
he can divest that within. So you're right. I think you're right. I don't really know anything about Lupe, and I think he's
But
into that.
he's I
Yeah.
think he's great with like the allegories and like metaphors. Like even like the dinosaurs song. Like about things about like climate change.
Right.
Very, very moving, very like but the core of it is that it's like a very clever, well constructed metaphor, you
Yeah,
know?
man.
I think it's a good example of how like fire kind of opposes water in this like setup that you have, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah,
It's a great point.
Yeah.
I would also go no on Earth bending.
yeah,
I don't think
I
there's a way
agree.
to talk into that.
And once again, I think it's just like he's just consistently like too clever and just like too slick with how he writes. Like it's you don't really get a ton of grit from that, at
it's
least
not
in the
his
way he
mission.
does it. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
And I think maybe oppositionally, if we did Freddie Gibbs, it would be the opposite, right? Like Gibbs would give you the grit, right? But he wouldn't
Yeah.
give you he would likewise have distance,
Hmm.
right? I don't know enough about Gibbs, you know.
I think
Mus-
deeper
mus-
he does like he's a bit more like personal. Like there are songs where he does go a bit more like more than your like average Coke rapper, I guess. Like because that's like
Yeah.
again you're going into it like relative to other people in that genre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
But
not consistent.
and he's
Yeah,
more
exactly.
personal than he has been now. He's
Yeah.
developing that, but uh, I,
Yeah.
I want to do one myself and just say, honestly, if you are if you're applying this to the 80s, right? Rappers of the 80s, Slick Rick is the avatar.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Slick Rick is the 80s avatar who did everything. Crazy voices, like he was doing the voices of other people within his stories. He was telling incredible stories. Um, he was transporting you to dangerous places. Um, he was being and vulnerable in characterization and laughing and getting you to laugh. Um, yeah, I just think Slick Rick is definitely an avatar. Um,
Do you think Cavaliers won, Dan?
let's do it. Let's do Cav. Yeah, I think
Number 14.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, let's start. Somebody give me a category they don't think Cav does because it,
I'm having trouble.
he's
Yeah.
definitely an airbender, right?
Oh yeah.
I think he's definitely a firebender.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think he maximizes everything he touches.
Mhm.
And I think he's definitely given me Earth over the course of his stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. I agree.
and I think he's definitely given me water, like a lot
Yeah.
of personal stuff.
Yeah.
I
I,
I think Cav
yeah.
is an avatar.
I think so too. I think like it seems like we're in agreement, but my argument for water would be just like I don't know, like I even just see like how he carries himself. Um he's always talking about like community and he's talking about like people who kind of like feed into his work and like I get that a lot from like different type time and even private stock. Like
Yeah,
there's just
dude.
like there's isn't there like a new song on the child actor album? I haven't spent a ton of
Yeah, the
time with that one.
Sine song. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
First Sine
There's
album
like
where it's
what's
like
it?
about his teacher, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but there's I thought there was like a song about was it Judy is Forever or something like that?
Yeah, that's about his teacher. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's about his teacher? Okay, okay. Yeah, like there's like, you know, there's like clear pieces of himself and like what he stands for, what he believes in,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
like where he's at in life. Like I even think of like touchstones, right? Like
Yes.
very, very very vulnerable, I'd say. It's like
Can't
really
call,
well, it's kind of sneakily vulnerable.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Can't
So I
call
think he's
out
in that too.
Touchstones right off the bat as one of the
Yeah.
most important songs when we talked about different type time with Cav. Um, yeah, yeah, he's. I think that's legit.
Yeah.
Um, water bending. The breakup songs are unbelievable, right? Even just the whole crux of different type time is that everything's changed, right? Like old New York versus new York, right? Doo Doo Damien, right? All of these things are personal,
Yeah.
right? All of these things are personal. So I just think he definitely is an avatar.
Yeah.
Um,
And part of like private stock too, like I think if private stock was really voyeuristic, it maybe wouldn't have landed, but like everything he has to say on that album like is coming from like a very personal like he's making it his mission. Like it's like he's taking like what he's talking about very personally and very seriously. So I'd agree with that.
uh, so yeah, I think that's a great place to have it. And I think basically this is not a way to shit on people or call artists incomplete. This is a way to look at interesting artists that you were into and find their strengths.
Yeah.
And so that I think it's a good way to think about it in that way. Let's go recommendation corner. Everybody cool with it?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, this album hasn't come out yet, but it has the single that I can't shake. I can't get it out of my head. The Yaya Bay has an album coming out called "Do It Afraid," and I'm a
Mm.
big Yaya Bay fan. Comes out June 20th. But she has a song called Merlot and Grigio with Father Felice that is like a reggae song, and it's just gorgeous. Uh, I can't get away from it. You know what I mean? Um, it comes on, it's just changes my whole mood.
Oh,
So,
it's out.
oh, the album or no?
No, the single.
Yeah, the single's out. Yep, yep.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah, check that out. It's great. Um, I guess I would go. Oh, I texted Kay that
Huh?
the R&B album of the year dropped, and it's "Sincerely" by Caliucius.
Uh,
It is beautiful.
I need
Um,
to listen to that.
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, when Caliucius is in that zone, it's crazy. Um, Kay, have you been listening to the new Woods?
yeah, I mean, Woods has gotten to a point where it's like you almost feel bad when you talk about him. Like he's so good. Like I just feel bad when when I just talk about him. Like it's almost like Jordan. Like he's gotten to a point where, and I'm not comparing him to Michael Jordan, but it's almost like there's some things that are just so good that you just get like you feel guilty when you talk about how good they are.
Right, like it's a foregone conclusion. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. But it's I try and safeguard from that too because sometimes that means like you don't get the MVPs that you should get,
right.
you know, because fucking Carl Malone's around or whatever. Um, but yeah, Gollywog is beautiful. And by the way, I want to because I think he was on Real Notes. Woods was, and the last question was about whether you know because some white people are not saying the name because it's an active slur in some places. Um, and Woods said he really didn't care about that or whatever. Or who says it doesn't say it. And it has to live within the context of, you know, people, in America really don't use this. So if they're saying it, it's not. So this is all just to say I'm going to say it because I've spent my whole life studying racism. And it was a real character, children's character created by author, last name Upton, I think, who was British originally, moved to America, um, is a real part of history. And for me, not saying it is running from it. And I think if white people try and not say anything that's race, that not mention it, not have it in their purview, I think if I think that would I think that has danger of driving black people nuts because you're denied. You're like, no, I don't. Like it is what it is, bro. Like Gollywog really existed. Racism is really in your anthropology history books. It's really in your philosophy books. Like it's really in the history. So it needs to be discussed.
Yeah, I
You
mean
know.
it's very like virtue signaling, like to me, like yeah. I think
I
you
mean, I'm not down on people who don't want to say it, right? If you don't want to say it, that's your choice. That's cool. But when I say it, I do know the weight it carries. I do know there are people around the world that are getting stabbed with that word. And I promise you're not going to mistake me for any of them cats.
right, but it's
Yeah,
mm,
my body work is different. So,
mm.
Gollywog, great album. And I think honestly, the weirdest thing, my first takeaway from it, Kay, was that it might be his most lyrical album.
I think it's where to me it's everything is clicking, everything is firing on all cylinders for him.
Right.
Like he's taken elements because we used to like he used to be known as almost too obtuse, like you can't really understand what he's saying without like reading a dictionary
Right, right, right.
or reading a history book. And then he kind of pivoted to like, being very like, having these very personal songs and,
Yeah, dude.
having some of these songs that are, personal, and then he'll have songs that are very humorous. But I think he never put them all together on like all those different elements together on one project. and I think he's done that with this project for me.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, it's beautiful. It's so human, right?
Hmm.
It feels like the culmination of a lot of things. I totally agree with that. Um, yeah. So those are my recommendations. That took a long time. Um, Athman, what are you bumping?
Oh yeah, sure. So I guess like lately I've been bumping a lot of for reasons that'll become clear in a couple of months, I'm bumping a lot of like EDM and like house music.
Nice.
So my like current like fixation is this guy called Barry Can't Swim. I think he's like from the UK or something like that.
Okay.
And he does like house like kind of EDM whatever, but it's with like a very like live tilt to it. Like he does a lot of like live keyboard playing. He incorporates a lot of live instrumentation, so it feels more like organic rather than just like synths coming at you, you know what I mean? So
Right, right, right.
that's kind of what I've been into lately.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No God. What are you bumping?
I know you just had them on the show, but Shamar Emergency is fucking incredible. A very dense, very harrowing album. Like I really have to, you know, you know, I can't just like throw it on in any setting, but I
Yeah.
will like make time out of my day just to listen to it and like just kind of like not do much, just take it in. So it's that type of album. Um, and that's the homie, and like, yeah, they should be really
Okay.
proud of themselves. And but other than that, the Mike Schaub album from this year,
Ooh,
Schaub Van Gogh.
Shop Van Gogh.
Um,
Shout out.
I man, his I've seen a lot of people like who don't love Mike Schaub, but I don't know. There's just something about his flow, how he like his cadences, how he approaches different songs that is just so addictive to me. Like he knows how to he knows how to make he knows how to make moments, he knows how to make things stick. He has a lot of earworms
Yeah,
and but he can also get really personal and vulnerable. Like I think Rope is still one of the best songs of the year.
I agree. Yeah,
$100%.
so with Shab, it, the flow is either the door that keeps you out or what brings you in, right?
Yeah.
Like once you get past the flow, then you're feeling how good the production is, right? You're understanding how dynamic the stories are. Yeah, you start to see the talent, you know.
Yeah. You
Um,
can't box him in either, really.
right.
Like he
But
he
if you
does
find the
everything.
flow irritating, okay. Like there's sometimes on a textural level, you're like, I don't fuck with that. you know, it's sandpaper to me. So and you're like, okay, that's fine. But for us that can get past it, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Kay, what are you rocking with? What are you bumping?
Uh, Music wise, nothing really new, but I will say I've really gotten into the season of the rehearsal by Nathan Fielder.
Oh
Season
yeah. Okay.
some of the best TV I've seen in the last 10 years.
Nathan Fielder does it, man. That's good.
Phenomenal. This great, great.
I gotta tap in. It's been on my list for a long time.
Oh man, it's just brilliant. Like the last two episodes have just been like I can't even describe it.
Yeah. It's I'm yeah, I'm st I'm we me and my wife started to watch Daredevil months ago,
Mm.
and then she formally quit the Daredevil universe. When you're a couple and you're watching stuff together, and then like there's an awkward thing where they're like, "No, you're taking this offline, doing this yourself. Like this is not." There was there's a couple levels of it. Obviously, it's like this season with the Born Again, they were trying to do Kingpin as a very Trumpian figure, and I don't think my wife's in love with this Trump thing anyway. So it was like more reminder of that. Also, the criminal justice system is kind of a trigger where it's like, oh, man, it's depressing, you know. But then on top of those layers, the third layer is everybody who fucks with this character gets killed or gets, this is like Matt Murdock is the friend you have where you privately pull women aside, like, don't date him, please. Your whole life will come apart. You know? I know he seems nice. He is nice until you date him. Please don't date him. Yeah. So but I can tell through that. I am experienced in the Daredevil universe, so I'm taking it offline. I'm moving. I did a few episodes today, feeling good. Yeah. It's good times, folks. So, Kay, just some show notes. Last show with Shamar, the aforementioned Shamar, was great. We did. I promised Kay that if we got 50 new subscribers, we would do vasectomies, not on the air, privately. And we don't have those yet. So
Okay, good. Whew.
you're okay.
All right, excellent.
You got time. So
Still
Yeah,
hope.
man.
you want to put the pressure on Kay, subscribe to the Patreon, get closer to that doctor's visit. So we keep it real out here.
Mm.
Streets. So yeah. Follow No God on Bandcamp. Follow Athmaan on Bandcamp. If you don't have Vital Breath, buy Vital Breath. Yeah, follow him on social media. Yeah. It's a good deal. Anything else you guys want to let people know?
New Athmaan album soon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, stay tuned.
Sorry to put-
Stay tuned. So basically Vital Breath was part one of a trilogy that I'm doing. So just to like kind of give a bit of background. All the names of the trilogy are like translations of my name Athmaan.
Yep.
So like the Vital Breath was like one of those translations. And it's like I guess it's kind of like the ego or the id of like the person's like your yourself, like your inner self is like
Right.
the real meaning. So I just like just to kind of explain that to people. So so Vital Breath was the first half, and the second part of that trilogy is coming out in August. So yeah, I expect a lot of this one's gonna be a bit more like upbeat, like dance vibes. No Go's on it a couple times. Rest of
Summer
the
music.
scriptures are on
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah, so gotta turn up the summer. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got another song dropping with the good friend Jordan in a couple weeks.
Mhm.
And then there's new No Duo music next month.
Oh, yeah.
On the
Two
horizon.
tracks, one produced by August Fanon and the other produced by Clown Cat.
Yep.
And I'm very excited for those to come out. But yeah, thank you guys for having us on. It's my fourth time being on the show, and it's
Hey,
always great. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
hey,
likewise as well.
appreciate having you.
Thanks.
Yes. Secret Skibbity Scriptures.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow